Hi guys, welcome to Alex Goes Coconuts. Today I'm going to be sharing my best tips on how to survive a long haul flight. I work as an international buyer, so I'm always flying overseas, and I've learned a couple of tricks along the way to really make sure that I have a really comfortable flight. So I'm going to share those tips and tricks today, and all the items that I talk about in today's video, I will list them in the description box down below if you are looking to buy them. Alright, so the first thing I want to talk to you about is seat selection, because that's the first thing you're going to do when you book that long flight. So where you sit on the plane is definitely going to make a difference in your comfort level. Usually I recommend to grab a seat that's away from the bathroom areas. First of all, because you don't want to be woken up each time somebody gets up to go to the bathroom. And if something bad happens in those bathrooms, you definitely don't want the smell coming towards you the whole time while you're flying. And I'll also select a seat that's away from the front or the back of the plane, where the flight attendants are usually preparing meals or, preparing coffee or whatnot, just because of the noise level. Personally, I like to choose a seat that's right in the center of the plane, around the wing area. I also find that that's usually the more stable area on the plane. I'm less prone to have motion sickness around there. The next thing I want to talk about is the window seat and the aisle seat. There's always a debate about which seat is best, and I don't think one is better than the other. I will say though that when you're on a long haul flight, the air conditioning on the window seat is so strong. That's exactly where the air comes out, like on the side panel where the windows are. And I've been so cold sitting in those window seats on long flights. So I'm just warning you, if you're somebody who's really prone to getting cold easily, then maybe the window seat isn't the best. However, you can bring like a little blanket or a little jacket or something to keep you warm during the flight. But the middle aisle is definitely a warmer option. Now, there is something to be said by having that wall from the window seat. You can usually lean on the wall to sleep. A lot of people like to do that on long flights. Me personally, I get up to go to the washroom quite a lot of times during the flight, so I don't like to wake up the people that are sitting next to me. So often I'll choose an aisle seat just so that I can have easy access and I can get up and move around during the flight. So choose a seat, obviously, that will suit your needs. Tip number 2 is definitely bring yourself a little carry-on backpack or bag like this that you can put underneath the seat in front of you, so that you can have easy access to what you want during the flight without bothering everyone. If you bring a roll-on suitcase, you're gonna have to store it in the overhead bin, and you don't want to be getting up throughout that flight to go access the stuff in that overhead bin. It's just gonna bother other people, and it's just really cumbersome. Now, if you want to know exactly what I pack in a carry-on for a long haul flight, I just made a video about that, and I'll try to put the link right up here and in the description box down below, and you can go watch that and it'll tell you everything you should pack in your carry-on for a long haul flight. Okay, tip number 3 is about food. When you're taking a long haul flight, it's best maybe to avoid certain foods that might upset your stomach before the long haul flight. So usually the day before I fly, I'm careful about what kind of foods I'm eating. I'm definitely avoiding foods that'll make me gassy or anything that'll cause an upset stomach in the plane. So I usually eat very light the day before and the morning of my flight, just to make sure that I'm not suffering throughout the flight. And that brings me to my next tip. I definitely suggest bringing a couple of snacks on the plane, just so that you can avoid being hungry throughout the flight. I usually bring a couple of protein bars, some nuts, some fresh fruits, some vegetables, or if I know that they're not going to serve a meal during the flight, I usually bring myself like something to eat for lunch or dinner. And I try to bring some healthy options just so that I can continue feeling good throughout that flight and I don't have any digestive issues. The next thing I recommend bringing is definitely some water. So I usually take an empty bottle like this. Once I pass security, I'll fill it up at any fountain or drinking station that they have inside the airport. You want to make sure that you stay hydrated throughout the flight. The best way to avoid headaches is to drink a lot of water throughout the flight. All right, so the next tip I have is definitely bring yourself some medication. In case you start feeling ill on the flight, you definitely want some medication on you so that you can start feeling better. Either way, you're supposed to carry your medication in your carry-on with you for the trip. So you should have access to most of the medication there. Another thing I always travel with is ginger tablets. I usually bring that because sometimes I do get motion sickness on the plane, and I find if I start feeling nauseous, the ginger tablets work super well to get rid of the nausea. Now, I highly recommend that you bring some disinfecting wipes just to wipe down the surfaces in the plane. Airlines do a really superficial cleaning of their airplanes after each stop, so it's just always a good idea to have some wipes with you so that you can disinfect the surfaces. It'll prevent you from getting sick. All right. The next tip is definitely bring your own entertainment. I can't tell you how many times I've been on a flight and the entertainment system did not work. I usually bring an iPad like this and I download some movies and some shows that I like onto here. I'll also maybe download a couple of books. If you don't have an iPad, this is a great solution. Download some shows, download audiobooks, but make sure you have something to entertain you throughout that long flight. Of course, if you're bringing any kind of electronics, you definitely want to bring some headphones. I personally like to bring headphones just because these are so much more comfortable to wear for a long period of time. Also, these are noise canceling, so they'll block out any noise from the plane or from any noisy neighbors that you might have. My next tip is definitely to bring like a little power bank like this, just to plug in your iPad, your laptop, or your phone in case it dies. Now, most planes do have little plugs where you can plug in your electronics into, but sometimes they don't always work. So it's always great to have like a little power bank like this. I really like this one just because it comes with a whole bunch of different attachments here. Just make sure that this is in your carry-on bag in the seat in front of you. The airlines have changed the rules about power banks. They don't want them in the overhead bin and they don't want them in your checked luggage. You have to carry this in your carry-on bag, which stays underneath your seat. All right, the next tip is definitely to wear comfortable clothes. You definitely want to wear pants that are not super tight or that don't push up on your waistline just because you're going to be sitting for a really long time. I usually wear leggings with a nice little top or something, and I'll bring an extra cardigan to keep me warm. And I usually like to dress in layers so that if I'm hot, I can remove some layers, but if I'm cold, I can, put layers back on. I also recommend bringing an extra set of clothes just because I've seen so many people spill drinks on themselves while on a long flight and then they have nothing to change into. So I pack it in a little compression cube like this and I just keep that in my carry-on bag. That way, if I get dirty or wet, I can just change into these clothes really easily. The next thing I recommend are things to help you sleep on the plane. I like this little travel blanket from the company Gravel. It's super lightweight and it comes with a carrying case. And what's cool about this blanket is that it has like these snaps like this. So these can snap around your neck, which I think is really practical when you're flying, just because, sometimes the blanket falls off of you when you're sleeping. So you could sleep in an upright position without, the blanket sliding off you while you're sleeping. So highly recommend this little travel blanket like this. You can also bring yourself a little neck pillow to make sure that, your neck is nice and comfortable. Something just to keep your head upright while you're sleeping so that you're not ending up on your neighbor. And you can also look at bringing yourself a little face mask like this just to block out the light. And you can also bring yourself a pair of earplugs too. If the noise bothers you, you can, pop in those earplugs and sleep like a baby. Now, another great tip is to bring some slippers that you can just slip onto your feet. When I'm taking a long haul flight, the first thing I like to do is take off my shoes just to be more comfortable, especially if I'm sleeping on the plane. These are just like foldable slippers, and that way I can walk around the plane or go to the bathroom without having to struggle to put my shoes back on each time I want to go to the washroom, especially during a long flight. The next tip I have is to bring yourself a little toiletry bag filled with things that you're going to need during the flight. So my number one thing that I recommend is some hand cream. Your skin will get so dry, especially on those long flights. So make sure you have some cream to relieve the dryness in your hands. I also recommend bringing a little bit of lip balm, something to relieve your cracked lips during the flight. I also recommend bringing some floss in case you get something something stuck in your teeth, you definitely want some floss to get it out. I also like to carry toothpaste, my toothbrush, and some mouthwash just to freshen up after sleeping on the plane. I also recommend bringing a little pack of wipes like this just so that you can wash your face after you wake up, or if your hands get dirty throughout the flight, you have a couple of wipes to wipe your hands down. All right, guys, so that's pretty much it. Those are all my tips and tricks on how to make a long haul flight more pleasant and comfortable. I hope you liked this video. Let me know in the comments down below where you're flying to next. And if you have any other suggestions for my viewers, please share them in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, guys. Happy travels. Bye.